Simply Scuba presents the Deco Stop podcast.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Deco Stop podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sean.
And we're here to talk about scuba diving stuff. But first of all, talking about the Simply Scuba website updates. So the first one is the Aqualung I330R dive computer has finally arrived. So I will be talking about that a little bit later because it should actually be turning heads. It's got quite a lot of sort of interesting things to pay attention.
Did they remove the lasers yet? Or did they keep them in?
They have removed the lasers. I can confirm there are no lasers. The next one is we have an Apex brand page. This is something that we're looking to do for a lot of key brands and interesting scuba diving brands, where we sort of focus on the company, what they do. We're not just here's what they sell. Just buy it, please. It's more. This is Apex, this is what they're all about, this is their heritage, this is what they're doing for the environment, this is why you should think to buy Apex. So yeah, this is sort of what we're sort of heading down to our key brands. We're really sort of focusing on this. We have increased our payment options. We now have Adyen. I think it's pronounced Adyen, but it's Adyen. I don't know, but it's a when you go to the sort of the checkout page, there's going to be a new option. Adyen, it basically gives you more freedom and sort of ease to sort of make payments, and cool. Yeah, it makes things safer as well when you're buying online because there's some encryption behind the scenes as well. So yeah, if you use it, then that's going to be on the Simply Scuba website going forwards. We also have a new section to the podcast. We're talking about the Green Initiative. So this is something that we've always kind of wanted to sort of mention. It's always been in the background, but we never really thought of a convenient place to put it. And we were looking at the podcast, and Sean and I just basically went, "Oh, why don't we just put it here?" If you didn't know, Simply Scuba is part of the Internet Fusion group, who are hyper-focused on being as environmentally friendly as possible and being as responsible as possible. And last week, we actually had a big sustainability meeting, and the statistics that came out of it were just amazing. And we're going to break down sort of a few of them sort of going ahead. But for now, we were looking at the statistics for 2020. 99.8% of our outbound packaging was plastic free. 94.6% of the packaging was made out of recycled natural fibers. 48.4% of the water used at our Kettering distribution centre was grey water, sort of reclaimed rainwater collected from the roof. 0% of our waste went to landfill. All these kind of things. So going forwards, we're going to focus and spend a bit more time on sort of each of those because we have lots of interesting new sort of eco-friendly sort of concepts going forwards. On WebTogs, they're doing a tree planting sort of scheme where for every WebTogs order, they plant a tree. We're looking to do something similar on Simply Scuba as well going forwards. Instead of trees, it's more specifically mangroves, I believe. We're sort of looking into that. And this week, the Internet Fusion group, sort of Simply Scuba, has been officially recognised on the Science Based Targets Initiative website. So if you want to, you can head over to their website and sort of read up on all of the sort of statistics and green stuff. So yeah, another reason to buy from Simply Scuba. We try and keep things as green as possible. We're also sort of working with different brands to reduce plastics and even accept products in the term naked without poly bags and all that kind of stuff. Sean just likes that term. But yeah, we're doing the best we can, and compared to a lot of other sort of retailers, we're not just doing this is the recommended, this is how much you should sort of aim to do it. We're doing that and more as well. There was a fantastic graph in in the presentation, and it was the 1.5 degrees Celsius total reductions, and there's like this green line which is like the recommended target. This is what you should be hitting, and we are so well beyond that. But we'll elaborate on that on sort of further weeks.
So what are you going to do with the new green initiative section? You're just going to pick a little target or something, and then you're just going to have a brief chat about it. Yeah, is that the plan?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the solar panels on our roofs, or the protect our winters sort of thing. So cool. we have a whole bunch of different things. I've already sort of rattled on for a few minutes, just sort of in the vagueness that I have. But it's sort of each of these sort of pledges and the things that we're doing is just sort of very impressive. So we're going to elaborate on that in the upcoming weeks, shall we say.
Excellent. And with that in mind, guys, that does officially mean, I think, that Simply Scuba is the most greenest website and warehouse definitely in the UK, maybe even Europe. And that is a badge that we are very proud of. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other scuba diving brands that claim that they're, eco-friendly, which is fantastic. But if you actually want to make a difference on a large scale, we're doing that. So basically, buy from us. Thanks. Cheers. That's what I want to get.
The number of pie charts in this presentation is just mind-boggling, and it compares 2018 to 2019, and then it breaks down everything, and it is very impressive.
There's a lot of things as well, right, in the presentation. And I will go on to other things straight away, but obviously a lot of companies go, we're carbon zero, we're all this, we're all that. And it was really interesting to find out that a lot of companies, in order to get that, all they've got to do is just show a file of, we've neutered it for this month or for the past couple of months. Here's like a couple £100. Can we have the badge? Thank you. And then they can then carry on going what it was beforehand. So that's it's not necessarily the truth. That's also why you won't see any of that on our website unless it's actually science-based, like obviously what happened to us today, the announcement today through the Science-Based Targets Initiative website. It's something that we really strive for. So basically, if anyone can buy it, we still obviously aim for those targets, but we don't basically go into it. We go to the real science, don't we? Which is why we are where we are. That's why we have one of the greenest warehouses in the UK, in Europe, or as I like to say at the end of the Web Talks videos, we are one of the greenest warehouses in the world. But that's cool, man. I can't wait to delve more into that. That's going to be really good, because that is the strongest thing that we have in the purchase since the crossover from old Simply to new Simply. This is the biggest thing that we've always wanted to rave about.
It's exciting, and it's quite handy that someone sort of created all these statistics and sort of actually this is something tangible that we can then sort of talk about and elaborate on. And
also as well, it's not like, sorry to go on about it, it's not like one person in the warehouse, like the boss man, has gone, right, you're the green guy, you look at stuff, that's it. And like you'd have that one person maybe spend a couple of hours a week looking into green initiatives and stuff. There is a dedicated team that's
we have a department.
They have a whole department that's been working on this for the past 7+ years. So it's not an afterthought. It's a legit department that is lead. I mean, again, to put it into initiatives, whenever there's green talks or green initiatives about green warehouses, that team go on talks. They've spoken all over Europe and America, talking about how they're getting the results that they're getting and how to implement it on others. And there are several big brands. Like obviously you spoke about the naked option where it doesn't come in packaging. They've not named and shamed, but they've shamed a lot of big brands into doing that, going, look, come on, guys, you need to be an example for this. And it's because of that department that the other brands, big, and I'm saying big names, have gone, actually, we need to listen to these guys, And the fact that they threatened them as well, like not in a like they've gone, right, we're not going to sell you. If you don't do something, we're going to name and shame you, and we're not going to sell you. And these big brands have gone, oh, okay, we need to actually do something. So that just proves the power that department has, and it's a full department. It's not your mate Dave who has got an office in the warehouse.
Yeah,
that's gone right.
On the side, he does.
I'm going to put some paper tape on this. We're eco-friendly now. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, there's a great picture or a pair of pictures in the presentation, and they took a photo of a pallet of received goods in the warehouse, and it's an entire pallet, and it's like 5 foot tall, with all this sort of packaging. The warehouse basically stripped it down to the bare, this is the products inside, and it breaks down to like one normal sized box once you strip out all the redundant packaging. So that's what we're sort of aiming for, to reduce all this sort of not necessary packaging, and sort of move forwards and make it as eco-friendly as possible.
Cool. Excellent. Right, so then let's actually move on. Let's crack on with the show. But yeah, the Green Initiative, that's new to the Deco Stop podcast, and we'll probably be ramming it down your throats because we want to in other shows as well. But this is going to be the main hub for that. Right, so let's crack on with social updates. I'll be nice and quick with them. So first off, YouTube. Ask Mark has had a little graphic update, so you would have seen that, Mark, as of recording. Oh. You wouldn't have seen that unless you've watched it in YouTube as a set schedule. But yeah, so it's had a little graphic update, which is really, really cool. And again, thank you to everyone who's still submitting questions. I'm surprised that we've reached 30 episodes and the questions are still coming in every single day, which is really, really good, because we used to do these things and we'd get nothing. I just want to say thank you to everyone who is asking questions and get involved in the show. It means a heck of a lot to us. Unboxing videos are back. They're going to be back later this week, hopefully Monday. It all depends on how fast my computer is uploading a bunch of 4K videos. Considering I cut out just during an internet Slack chat, it's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, so product unboxings, they'll be coming back very soon, which is awesome. And the first comparison video of the dive brief went live, which is based on 2 masks, wasn't it, Mark? Masks,
yes. It was going to be dive computers, but I couldn't get my hands on the 2 dive computers. So yeah, the next one will be on dive computers.
Yes, so that's coming live on Wednesday. But yeah, so the comparison videos are coming back. I don't think all the dive briefs are going to be comparisons, but obviously we used to do them before the handover, and we know a lot of people liked doing it, and now we're getting into the scheme and we're getting into the rhythm of getting products in and that sort of thing. So hopefully, we'll do more of them as we go along. And again, with the comparisons, it's still early days. We've got to see what works, what doesn't work, how we can film it. So yeah, just bear us on that. And that's YouTube. Instagram, just a quick one. So our product template has gone. It's changed again. It's gone to the old. Sorry, what was that, Mark?
That's the one that I made, wasn't it?
You didn't make it. You tweaked. Let's be honest. You tweaked it. You didn't make it. There was about 3 other people that made it before you, and then you tweaked it, and then you sent it to me, and then I tweaked it. And when I say I tweaked it, I made it a bit bigger so it fills the screen of your mobile phone more, so you get more of an impact of Simply. But yeah, basically it's the new old version. So when we got it, we were looking at assets and stuff, changing things up, and we did a couple of stuff. It was okay. It got the reactions. And then I think you did a post on the new Aqualung computer, didn't you?
Computer, yeah.
To get everything ready for it not to go live for like another 2 weeks, because it's only just come in stock, which is fantastic. But yeah, I almost got a bit nostalgic looking at it, and I was like, do you know what? That does look cool. Let's just bring that back. And then I just tweaked it by putting a link in bio. I stretched it so it fills the screen more, and a presto. So yeah, there's going to be more graphic, the little updates on the template for graphics, making them pop a bit more on our Instagram feed, which I think is really, really cool. And also as well, the response to our more lifestyle shots. So obviously we're still testing things out. At the beginning it was all lifestyle, bit of product. Then it went to product, lifestyle, video, daily scuba news. There was too much there. So then I was just like, right, no, 50-50 split on product and lifestyle. But obviously Instagram, people like seeing, having links to products or whatever. But they want to see the people diving. They want to see beautiful pictures of fish and free divers and stuff like that. So I increased the lifestyle shots, and it's gone down swimmingly. No pun intended. Our subscribe rate or our follow rate has shot up since I've done that. So that's always a massive win. And lastly, podcasts. Nothing really to say on podcasts, just there's that across all platforms. I say all platforms, I look at 2, and there's been a surge in followers and listeners. So just want to say thank you to everyone who is embracing the podcast. I will go into more detail a little bit later and see whether we can tweak things there. But basically, thank you to everyone who continues to listen to the podcast, and hello to all the new listeners. That's it. I'm done. Peace out. What's next, Mark? Let's talk about some news.
So onto sort of small news stories, just interesting things, but we only do 4 daily scuba newses a week. So this is just fill in the blanks, the stuff that we didn't get a chance to talk about. The first one is a mystery skin disease that is affecting white-tip reef sharks in Malaysia. And it looks horrible. They basically get these sort of lesions on their heads, and they're not entirely sure what it is. They believe it could be caused by rising sea temperatures. This sort of, I don't know, they're not entirely sure sort of what it is, but more and more sort of divers are coming back with photos with these poor reef sharks with this sort of weird kind of lesion disease, something or other, fungus growing on them. So yeah, keep an eye out. If you do see any, try and get a picture of them and sort of send them to sort of local marine researchers so that they can gather as much data as possible. Yeah, sad,
That
horrible.
sucks, man.
Yeah, hopefully they can sort of work out what it is and see what they can do to help them.
Yeah, just put a bit of Aveeno cream on them. That'll be all right.
Yeah, just rub it. Yeah,
E45, rub it in.
Poor little guys. The next one is a nail artist has caused controversy in Dubai, and she basically she does all these like fancy nail designs and different things, and she thought it would be a good idea to have a nail design that effectively holds a small amount of water and a living fish inside one of her fingernails. And of course, the internet exploded because that's just awful.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. It's what made you think? Oh, do you know what I really, really want at the end of my finger? Let me put a living fish in there that's slowly dying.
Yeah, exactly. It is literally going to slowly suffocate and die. Sort of so many people, I mean, the post caption sort of added, "No fish were harmed." Like, well, what? No, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
She's received a lot of backlash over it. At nail_sunny. Yeah, hopefully she'll think better.
Now_sunny, go guys, you know what to do, but we do not encourage you to do anything. It's not us, but do it.
Yes.
Have at it.
And finally where was this? The Gulf of Thailand. So scuba divers were on a liveaboard. They were just sort of going on another dive, and they came across this reef, and this huge fishing net is just draped across the entire thing. They took lots of photos and video of it, and it's just shocking. I haven't seen any update to whether they've actually gone and collected it and removed it, but it literally just covers most of this reef. And of course the fish can't get in, the fish underneath can't get out. It's getting sort of snagged on all this like pronghorn coral. So yeah, something desperately needs to be done about that. Hopefully we'll see something positive.
Yeah,
we'll get one of the
definitely.
GhostNet recovery teams going in, collecting that up as safely as possible.
Yeah. That's horrible.
And I think that's about it that I saw in the news. I did see, I saw sort of one headline, and that was from 2012, and it was the buddy of a diver that died, and the family of the diver that died, like threatened, or I can't remember I read it this morning. They said nasty things to the witness, and he's like, well, what? They were basically saying that he was lying about his testimony or something about what happened, and he's like, well, no, I was there. This is what happened, and it's all turning a little bit nasty. So
That's not good.
but the actual news stories that I spoke about. So the first one is scientists have basically found a way, or potentially a way, to diagnose decompression sickness from a blood test. So until now, diagnosing decompression sickness has always been a little bit tough, because the only way to definitively say yes, this is DCS, is just looking at the signs and the symptoms and basically working out, yeah, we reckon it's decompression sickness. We're going to whack you in a chamber and see if that fixes it. But they basically worked out that when you do suffer decompression sickness, a sort of a built-in immune response activates, and it's a certain inflammation. It produces a very specific type of I can't remember the name. It is like a protein in your blood, and the white blood cells as well, and they can test for that. And if it is accurate, then yeah, it could be as simple as just a quick blood test to go, boom, yes, you have decompression sickness, boom, into the chamber as quickly as possible. Wow. Because a lot of subtle decompression sickness, a lot of people suffer from decompression sickness without even knowing it, because the signs and the symptoms are just too subtle to notice, and they just get on with their lives, but it is causing damage, whereas treatment would have made a big difference. So this is quite interesting. The study was only on about 13 or 14 scuba divers, so it was a relatively small sample size. So now they're looking to sort of expand that to sort of confirm their hypothesis. And yeah, hopefully this could be a really big deal. The next one is that scientists have discovered a way to turn old plastic bottles into vanilla.
This is such a weird story.
So they basically, this is PET bottles, so just drinks bottles. What you can do is they can break it down from plastic into its component parts, and one of those parts is terephthalic acid or something, is TA, and then they can use that acid. And then if they introduce a special version of E. coli bacteria that they've modified to do something, it basically breaks down that acid and then turns it into vanillin. And yeah, you can use that for everything from cosmetics to herbicides and making vanilla ice cream, all that kind of stuff. It's very, very clever. And yeah, I think I've read something, because in a lot of the news story that I sort of read it from in the comments section, everyone was like, oh no, I'd never sort of have this because, oh yeah, it's plastic and all this kind of stuff. It's not, but also 85% of the world's vanillin that's created at the moment comes from fossil fuels, not from vanilla beans. So it's a matter of you've probably already been sort of consuming it without knowing it's not from an actual vanilla bean itself. It's actually just derived from fossil fuels.
From dinosaurs. Thanks, dinosaurs.
Pretty much.
T-Rex
yeah,
tastes like vanilla.
Yeah, and some clever chemistry. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And it's a way of... They were looking at plastic bottles, and they lose 95% of their market worth as a material after their initial use. So secondhand plastic bottles, yeah, you can kind of turn them into fibers for clothing and carpets and stuff, but the value is relatively low, whereas this, you can take something that is a low value just byproduct in effect of the drinks market, and then turn it into a relatively high value product for everything from pharmaceuticals to cosmetics, food and drinks, yeah, you name it. So yeah, this is quite interesting, and they're hoping that if they just use a different version of E. coli that does something a little bit different, they can turn it into something completely different. Instead of vanillin, they can just sort of pick and choose. Oh, okay, now I want this batch to make, I don't know, something citrus. I don't know, whatever.
Cherry soda.
Yeah, it's clever stuff.
It's amazing, mate.
Yes.
Cool,
And it's relatively easy. All you have to do is just like mush it up and then warm it to...
You can do it at home. If you've got a blender, make your own vanilla.
Because all you do is you warm it to 37 degrees Celsius and then you just agitate it for about 24 hours and it's done.
I'm pretty good at agitating stuff, so... That's amazing.
So those are my
mate.
news
That's
stories.
fantastic.
Yeah, science. Clever.
So I can do sort of... They definitely can do science. Them, me, them, whatever. Okay, my story is a less intellectual, very much less intellectual. Guy got eaten by a whale.
There was NASA in something.
Oh yeah, it was NASA. Yeah, there was a NASA one, but so guy. Anyway, first story. Guy was I don't know whether he is a lobster diver, and he was I don't know lobster diving at the time, but basically he was about 45 feet underwater, having a bit of fun, I think. And then a whale's just like do. Oh, I'm gonna eat something. And then he picked up this human amongst all this other fish or krill or whatever, plastic bags, vanilla. And then basically this guy went from 45 feet to nothing in a space between 20 to 40 seconds. And then the whale was just like, what on earth is in my mouth? And then spat him out. Annoyingly, I would have loved it if the guy went out like they do in the movies and cartoons, spat him out for his blowhole, but that didn't happen.
No.
And then then he kind of was just like, "Whoa, what just happened there, mate?" And then went to the hospital, and then he basically just got soft tissue damage. And after a couple of hours being in the hospital, he was released. And then his story, I think he went on
Kimmel,
Reddit,
wasn't he?
And then
he went.
And then
he
it
went.
blew
Or
up
his
from
son.
there.
Yeah, his son went on Reddit AMA because the man himself wasn't too sort of tech savvy apparently, and just sort of answering questions about his ordeal.
Yeah.
I think I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel.
Wow.
I did see some people like dispute it, basically saying, "Oh, I don't believe he would have gotten away with just a few like bumps and bruises," and it's just because was he scuba diving or was he free diving? Do you know?
The report didn't go into too much detail, in all honesty. But the main doctor said, well, if you were at 40 feet and within, say, 30 seconds you were up to the surface, why didn't you get barotrauma? It's one of, but then it's one of those things.
I wouldn't worry about barotrauma, but
I don't know. Again, I'm not the expert there, so.
Yeah, I mean, it is a rapid ascent. I mean, it's not that deep, so I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't recommend trying to ascend that quick, but it's if he was much deeper, I'd be a bit more worried. If he was free diving, I wouldn't be that worried at all. Yeah. I don't think barotrauma would be an issue. Barotrauma is normally the other direction, going downwards.
That's what the doctor
unless he
said.
had
or one of the people that disputes it, should I say, said. So
yeah. I don't think he's too sort of on his game with how pressure works underwater.
Throwing shade at the doctors.
Well, because he's going from what 2.2 atmospheres up to 1, so that's a decrease in pressure. So unless he had a reverse block, then he might receive barotrauma, but no, it's normally an increase in pressure that gives you barotrauma. You don't have to equalize coming up. You
You should watch a certain video that goes live on Sunday where you talk about barotrauma. Well, not barotrauma, but atmospheric pressures.
Oh gosh, yes, that was a fun.
It's a
video
really
to film.
exciting video. I loved editing it. I didn't get a headache.
Lots of numbers in that one. So yeah, I don't know. I imagine it happens. I don't see why not.
All the guy wants is for Matt Damon to play him in the movie because you know
I
that
did
it's
see
gonna
that
be a
somewhere.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that somewhere. It's not going to be the longest of movies because I think all the story is that he was in the water. A whale kind of scooped him up and then spat him out.
They'll
The
do
end.
it where like he's a war veteran. He came back from
Flashbacks.
Iraq, and then he got swallowed. He thought he was doing fine, and then he got swallowed up by a whale, and it triggered his PTSD, and then a zombie apocalypse happening or something like that. That'll happen.
With Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, with Sandra Bullock as the man, and she'll be a man in the thing, and then there'll be outrage on that because people are stupid. Anyway, next story was about NASA. So basically, this committee that I can't, it's like the Sultans of Federation something or other. They did a I'm on the ball with this today, guys. They basically just finished the so-called biggest reef survey in the world as of recording, and then NASA was just like, "Oh, what you got there, mate? What you got there? You got a lot of data there. Can I have it?" And then basically they now have joined forces.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I went num 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 num.
Num. Yes, nummy num. Yeah, they joined forces, and basically they've nicked their data to put it into their own data, which is like the Nemo net neutral, basically computer system. So Skyrim or whatever it's called, not Skyrim, Skynet. That's the one. Skyrim's a Bond movie. Skyrim's I'd say a cottage.
No, that's
It's more a
Skyfall.
mansion out in the middle of.
Skyfall.
Oh my life! Yes,
You're thinking of
is
the video game
that's a
Skyrim.
Game. Elder Scrolls by the 9. I took an arrow to the knee. That's what Skyrim is.
There you go.
Anyway, there we go. Got there in the end, guys. This is going well today. But yeah, basically, I've completely lost track of my thought. But basically, they've nicked this data and they can put it in their computer. So now, NASA, using their technology, can basically monitor reef systems almost real time. And they've used this new camera system, which is called a fluid cam, I believe, off the top of my head. And that can take pictures of coral reef through water without any distortion at a centimetre scale. And then using that data, they can make a 3D reef system out of it. And they take those pictures from a plane, like thousands of whatever meters above. So basically, if you're thinking about doing a career in reef surveying as a scuba diver, probably wouldn't bother, because your job is instantly, or pretty much already has been, taken over by a computer, which basically means that they can monitor the world's reef systems from above a lot quicker. So the data that they took from the this reef survey, it took hundreds of scientists, well over thousands of hours to gather the data, to document it, and obviously to file it in this system. This computer will probably just scan something within 5 minutes and be like, yeah, that's what it looks like now. This is what the temperature is, blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's literally cutting the work down to more than, I don't know, like 1/10 of what it normally would be or something. So yeah, it's really cool. And also as well, NASA, they've created a game based off of this. So if you want to download a game, you can do, and then basically that's teaching younger generations and people that don't know necessarily much about reefs and coral systems, it's teaching them about how important reef systems are, and it's using the model that they've made in real life in the game as well. So then you hunt down reef systems and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. That is
the future.
my stories and the future. So Mark, what's the product of the week?
It's the Aqualung I330R dive computer.
No way! Oh my gosh!
So I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now because this is a bit of a game changer. They kind of like, it's been available in other territories around the world for a little while now. I think they were kind of testing the water just to see sort of how it was received. But now it's available in the UK, and it's turning a lot of heads because it's a large watch-sized dive computer. I'd kind of describe it as a bit of a puck-sized dive computer, a bit like a hockey puck, but it's color screen. It's rechargeable. It comes with a NATO-style strap instead of a sort of a plastic strap, and it has a recommended retail price of just £270. So it's really inexpensive, and for what you get, it's a cracking recreational dive computer. It's got nitrox and all that kind of stuff inside of it. But yeah, this is something that people really should be sort of looking at, because it's a bit like a stripped down version of their 770. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to do my unboxing video. That's going to be uploaded hopefully next week. But yeah, if you're in the market for a new dive computer, sort of getting back into the water, then yeah, you should definitely sort of check it out. Yeah, i330R.
Cool. Exciting times.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy 7 of them. And then buy a Tarek.
We've only got 6 in stock at the moment, so don't buy 7.
Buy 8. Buy all the stock.
Yeah, no, it's smart, and it's got pelagic Z Plus algorithm in it as well, which is pretty smart. Yeah, you can read up on that online, and stay tuned for our unboxing. Yes, definitely worth checking out.
Sweet, nice one, dude. Okay, so from your product of the week to the question of the week, which, funnily enough, is about a product. Mm-hmm. So, Mark, over the past week or so, you'll notice, well, you wouldn't have noticed as a customer, but we actually got our hands on the new XDeep Regulator. Yes. So, Mark, what are your thoughts on it? Now, the XDeep Regulator has been around for a while. It's just been in test modes, and it's only been available in certain areas. And because of the whole pandemic as well, they're having issues, like pretty much most companies, in actually getting the parts, getting it built, and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things, not going against it, but there was a lot of hurdles that XDeep had to jump over in order for it to get out and live. But it seems to be the case that it is now finally available. And in the question, I put an asterisk because that's not always the case, but it is becoming more mainstream, should I say, to the everyday Joe, everyday public, everyday scuba diver can purchase one. So I know this has been a hot topic for, 2-3 years about the XDeep Reg?
At least. I mean, they first announced it, or we first saw a prototype of it 5 years ago or something, maybe. I think it was like sort of first seen at a dive show, and then it went very, very quiet for quite a long time. And since then, I think it changed design ever so slightly, and then it very kind of quietly just kind of entered the market sort of earlier this year, and I got my hands on the first one sort of early this week, or actually late last week, and it's a lovely regulator. It's so it's the XDeep NX700 LS200 regulator.
Catch your title.
Whoever named it needs to be shot, but it's apart from the name, it's an amazing regulator, because. So first of all, looking at the NX700 first stage, so it's a swivel turret, but it's a fixed swivel turret if you want it to be. So they basically wanted one first stage that does kind of everything. And at the moment, my favorite design of first stages is a 5-port swivel turret. But traditionally, they all rotate sort of on the body, which in that direction, it doesn't really make sense because you typically have either the body of the cylinder in the way, so you can't rotate the that turret all the way around, especially when you have hoses routed out of it. So XDeep basically rotated that swiveling turret 90 degrees. Instead of putting 4 low pressure ports on that and then 1 coming out of the center, they only put 3 on the swiveling turret, and they're all kind of facing in one direction. So that way, if you want it for side mount or on a single cylinder, then you can have it, you can have all the hoses that you want on that swiveling turret so that it routes sort of nice and neatly. You also have 2 fixed diagonal low pressure ports coming out of the main body. But then if you want to use it as a first stage on a twin cylinder, you can screw in a little post that stops the swivel turret from rotating, so that it's now effectively fixed. So you're reducing the number of failure points, but also that your hoses aren't routing upwards. So it's very, very clever. Environmentally sealed and all that kind of stuff, cold water rated. One thing that was a little bit odd was that it only comes in 232 DIN. Traditionally, most of them are sort of 300 bar DIN, but 300 bar tanks are getting a bit sort of old hat. A lot of divers don't use them, especially sort of technical divers, because once you get over sort of 200 bar, then a lot of things get quite complicated and change. So they just went for 232, which works perfectly fine. The hose itself is unusual.
It's just a hose. Whoa, the hose.
I know, but it's not a traditional rubber hose. It's not a braided hose. It's one of these kind of modern polyurethane hoses, which is kind of transparent gunmetal grey, so you can see the braiding underneath it, but it's nice and light. It's still quite flexible, and it's gunmetal grey instead of black, which is pretty cool. The LS200 second stage has a great solid feel to it. Some second stages, you pick them up, they feel quite light, which is quite nice for travel, but it's quite light, so it feels a bit fragile. This feels nice and tough. The front cover is got a cool sort of domed design to it. Doesn't rattle at any point. You've got adjustable breathing and an adjustable venturi as well. It is available in a kind of an alternate octo configuration, the LS100, where it only has venturi. But the first time I hooked it up to a cylinder and took a breath from it, it is the most silky smooth of breathes. With some regulators, you just breathe from it and you're like, yeah, okay, this is fine. But as a connoisseur, you kind of notice that, yeah, it's actually quite raspy. But the XDeep is very smooth. You don't get any of that rasp. I mean, maybe I got a very special one that was handcrafted, but this was just a stock one out of the box. So yeah, I think this is a really nice regulator. But the only thing that I can think of is that trying to get them serviced, you need to make sure that there's someone nearby that can get them serviced. But as a regulator, lovely. I think this has real legs. This is going to go a long, long way.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, do you think it's got potential? Do you reckon there's a legacy there? Like, 'cause there are certain regulators that you just have, like whether it's Apex or Scuba Pro. You know, there's other brands that have potentially made regulators, and then give it a couple of years, then you don't hear from them again.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I mean, there was the Mars XR one, what I think it was the VR or something, and that had a hose. Instead of coming in from the side, it came in underneath.
I remember seeing that. I actually remember seeing that.
When you first look at it, you're like, what? But then when you kind of think about it and the hose routing, especially for sort of side-mounted stages, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's quite convenient. I think that's disappeared just because the market doesn't like change.
I was literally, if scuba divers don't like change. Just you
We
try
don't
and promote
like change.
a different strap for a mask, and you get shot down. Jeez.
But XDeep have always managed to find that sweet spot between mixing things up and making things actually, why should we do it the traditional way? This way is like so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this does have legs. It's just we need to get more service technicians out there in the wild. And then, yeah, we'll see a lot more of these.
Yeah, so I was going to say XDeep's definitely the brand to push things forward in a innovative way, should we say?
Yes.
And not anger scuba divers.
Yeah, no, because once you actually try it, you're like, oh, yeah, that's really comfortable and it's pretty practical. But it's still DIR, or
Nice.
verging on DIR.
Sweet. So it's a contender. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and it's not bonkers expensive. That's another thing. I was expecting, because XDeep stuff is traditionally fairly expensive because they use like really premium materials and lots of clever like laser cutting devices and all that kind of stuff. But the regulator itself, if you're just getting like a first stage and a second stage, it's like 440 quid or something.
That's actually not too bad. Yeah.
No, it's in that realms of this is a decent quality regulator, but it's not like in the 700, £1,000 kind of, oh yeah, this is a real premium. But the breathe that you get from it is, yeah, top notch. So definitely worth checking out, especially if you're like a cold water diver.
Yeah. All right. Nice. There we go. So that is Deco Stop done. Continue from this, Mark, so I don't end up.
Oh yeah, you like me to do the outro. So yeah, don't forget to check out the Simply Scuba website. All of these things that we've mentioned will be on the website. I think the XDeep regulator is not there yet. We're just taking some photos of it. As soon as they're done and uploaded, it will pop up on the website. Yeah, stay tuned on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel because I'll have my unboxing video where you see exactly what you get inside of the box, and then my sort of review of it, how I think about it. That all uploads sometime next week, I imagine, as well as the new Aqualung I330R dive computer, because that again is something that you should definitely sort of consider. If you're a little bit strapped for cash, that's not an issue because we do have Klarna, which is a 0% finance option. So you can break up those payments just to make your life a little bit easier, as well as the for smaller items, you can offset your payment for up to 30 days. So you can kind of decide whether you actually like it once you arrive, once it arrives at your front door. If you don't like it, send it back and money never really leaves your account. But if you do like it, then you can pay for it. If you have any questions, comments, queries, corrections about anything, try and use the hashtag AskMark and we'll address them on the Friday show across any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube's the best because that's the one that we pay most attention to.
Yeah, but Facebook's the worst because I check it all the time.
It's not really the platform for us. We do better on sort of video, but yeah. Anyway, try and use that hashtag. It just makes it a lot easier for us to actually find it. And then Sean and myself will elaborate on the Friday show. And that's it today. Yeah, if you want us to elaborate on anything in particular, then sort of let us know. And yeah, stay tuned for next week's show where I'll talk about something that Simply Scuba is doing green.
We're painting the website green. It's not an eco initiative. The logo, it's not blue anymore. It's not blue and grey. Well, technically there is a green, isn't there? It does have that weird bluey aqua greeny.
Yeah, if you look at the RGB kind of stats, it is an incy bit green.
Yeah.
But no, as an eco-friendly initiative, yeah, we'll be elaborating on that next week.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening, everybody, and safe diving.
Yeah, stay classy as scuba divers.
The Deco Stop podcast is produced and recorded by Simply Scuba, the UK's #1 dive store. Visit today at simplyscuba.com.